Okay, welcome guys again to another Monday's Builders Call. Tonight we've got the pleasure of having Emma Ward with us to share some amazing inspiration, some beliefs and mindset topics. And Emma's going to basically run tonight. I'm going to let Emma have free rein. Emma has been such a pivotal part in my sanity whilst running a business and being a mum and just dealing with life. And it can get really overwhelming, and it can be so easy to slip into a negative mindset and allow lots of negative energy to consume you. And Emma has taught me so much about, I did a lot of work as well, but Emma has also helped me with staying in that positive mindset to allow myself to create those positive thought patterns, shift out those negative ones, and know that I am capable of anything that I set my heart and mind to. So I found that being that Emma was so valuable for my business, and Emma was such a valuable asset to our builders training we had in Adelaide a few months back, that I wanted to share Emma with you, because I don't want to be greedy. I want to share Emma with you all, and Emma so graciously accepted my offer. So I'd like to welcome Emma Ward. Now, Emma and I went to school together, so we've known each other for quite a while, and we're quite proud of the fact that we're two Moonta girls that are running our own successful businesses, aren't we, Em?
Absolutely.
So I'll let Emma tell you about herself and her business, but please grab all the information that you can from Emma tonight. Have a notepad and pen ready, or have your phone with a memo ready so that you can start taking notes. And Emma's got some tasks and things I think that we're going to work through tonight. Yeah. So
definitely.
Please have something handy so that you can jot some things down, so that we can start some work while we're on this call tonight. And for those watching the recording, you'll be able to do the same at home when you watch this. So I'm going to hand this over to Emma, and she's going to take it away. If you have any questions, please just put them in the chat box, and I'll have a look at them, because I'm not sure. Emma, you can probably see on your side too. So we can, down the bottom of your screen, there's a chat function. So any questions, just pop them in the chat box, and Emma's going to put her details in there as well. So you'll be able to follow her on Facebook, and you'll be able to make any appointments with her if you need to. A few of our girls have already followed up with Emma and had some appointments and had some really lovely times with her. So that's great that that's already starting. Excellent. So we've got www.positiveoutlooks.com.au. So please make sure you save that one. And take it away, Emma. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you so much, Erin. I'm always grateful for Erin for everything she's done to help boost my business. And like Erin said, very proud that we're two Moonta girls that have known each other for a very long time and still kept that connection. And can't thank her enough for bringing me in tonight. I always love speaking to people that are here with the intention of being in service to help other people. To give you some background for those that don't know me, I'm a life coach that works from Moonta and from Adelaide. I live in Adelaide these days, but still keep my Moonta connection with my clinic and come back frequently. I work with children, teens, adults. I receive referrals from the Child Protection. I work with a diverse range of clients. However, as I said at the Adelaide Business Training, my favourite group of people to work are people like Erin and business builders, people that come in, they're motivated, they're driven, they know where they want to be. And that's what helps me get fantastic results. And I love helping you guys reach your goals quickly, because I think I'm someone that likes to do things quickly and like to see quick progress. So I love that you business builders come in and you want results quick. Sometimes other people are a bit happy to kind of take things a bit slower, but I find business builders, and particularly people I've met through doTERRA, they want to move quick, and that matches my pace and speed. So I love that. When Erin asked me to do this talk, I had to think about what I wanted to share. And I thought I'd share something that I've really been working on quite intensely over the past 6 months, and that has helped me to grow my business massively, and that I've become really passionate about. And it started when I did a course by Connie Chapman. She's one of my favourite coaches, and I actually noticed she uses doTERRA oils as well. She plugs that quite a bit in her Instagram posts and things like that. And Connie ran a course recently called Slow Down and Tune In. And I was really drawn to it because I wanted to learn how to hone into my intuition a little bit more, because I do rely on it a little bit during sessions. And I've become really passionate about learning the difference between ego and intuition and how that can help grow your business. And that's what I wanted to share with you all tonight. So as opposed to believing and listening to my ego and fear-based thoughts, I've been trying to learn how to listen more to my intuitive, higher self thoughts. So I'm going to guide you through how to understand the differences tonight. And then we're actually going to do a few exercises to help you hone in a little bit more to your own intuition. So in real simple terms, intuition is positive internal guidance, and your ego is a negative internal voice of fear. So to start the ball rolling, before I get too heavy into the content, you're going to need to know this a little bit later in the talk, but I want you to think about two things that you're deciding between at the moment. And I'm thinking it would be perhaps good if you had two perhaps business decisions you're deciding between. I thought this was quite a good time that this talk came across, because if you're like me, it's the end of the year and I've got to make some real big crunch decisions at this point. Points about services I'm going to continue, things I'm going to discontinue, in what ways I'm going to amp my business up, in what ways I'm going to slow down. So I thought this activity was going to be quite helpful at this point, because if you're like me, you're going to have a few pivotal decisions to make at this point. So you don't need to know exactly what your options are right now, but later in your talk, I want you to have two business options you're deciding between. So it might be as simple as you don't know whether in your day job, whether you're going to work Tuesday or Wednesday next year, or it might be something quite significant, like whether you're going to, someone's given you perhaps an offer to work or to expand your oil business in a particular area, and you don't know if it's good for you or not for you. If you are having trouble identifying two options to decide between that are business connected, then perhaps it could be deciding between two restaurants you're going to eat in on Saturday night. What I want you to be clear on is two decisions that you're deciding between, because you'll need that later on. But before we get into that, let's get into a bit of the content. So to give you a bit of background journey, I completed a double business degree at uni. I worked for a building company for many years. I was earning really good money, and lots of people thought I had the dream job, but for me it wasn't filling the bucket, and I knew there was something a little bit more. I was also based in Yorke Peninsula at the time. My heart was in Adelaide, and so I went through a bit of a soul searching journey and a bit of discovering who I was as a person. And when I started going through this journey of identifying who I am and reflecting over the past, I began to realize that at particular points in my journey when I was really out of alignment, where I wasn't where I was meant to be, I began to experience really quite significant symptoms of anxiety and depression during those times. So there were at points when I was in a job that didn't suit me, in a relationship that didn't suit me, had friendships that perhaps weren't in for my highest good. And during those times, I noticed that I was experiencing anxiety and depression. And what I wish now, looking back, was I didn't so heavily resonate with the titles of anxiety and depression, because looking back now, I can see that these symptoms were triggered because I wasn't where I was meant to be. It was my higher self, it was my intuition screaming at me, "What are you doing, Emma? Like, this is you're off course. It's not where you're meant to be." Unfortunately for me, it took me a little bit of time to recognize that, I identified that I had anxiety and depression for a long time before realizing I was actually just out of alignment. I wasn't where I was meant to be, and it was my intuition screaming at me. And before I go too much further, please don't think that I'm dismissing anxiety and depression, because they exist. But for me, they were my warning signs that I was too attached to ego, fear-based thoughts and not my intuition at those points in time. And all our bodies have warning signs when we aren't listening to our intuition or our higher self. Unfortunately, a lot of people out there don't recognize them as warning signs and perhaps settle for them as diagnoses of depression, anxiety, health problems, IBS, rather than connecting with your body's wisdom to see what's going on. And to give you a bit of a story of how you might be able to connect with this even a little bit further, my auntie was recently diagnosed with a contained breast cancer lump. And so I was speaking to my auntie about it, how she was travelling with it all. And she said to me 12 months ago before the diagnosis that something actually came up on the scan, like a bit funny, but that the doctors didn't know what it was. It wasn't cancer at that point, and they dismissed it. Anyway, my auntie said that between about 6 months ago, before she had, so it was about 6 months past the last scan, 6 months to go for until the next checkup, she started having this really uneasy feeling, and could feel like something wasn't right for her. And she said to me, she goes, at the time, she said like her son was having a baby, and she thought the feeling might have been connected to her baby. She said, I'm really connected to my intuition, Emma. I knew something wasn't right, but I thought it was about the baby, or I thought the pregnancy, or she could feel the intuitive feeling, but she didn't know what it was about. She said that when she did go have this checkup and they detected the contained breast cancer lump, and she realised the next steps forward, she said that feeling actually disappeared. And so for her, that was an example of her intuition screaming at her, trying to get her attention. But of course, she didn't know what it was. She wasn't to know what it was screaming at her about. But I'm hoping for each of you right now, you're kind of resonating with a memory about, okay, that actually reminds me of a time I could feel my intuition, but I wasn't listening, or perhaps I couldn't work out what that feeling was about. And what I'm trying to tell with that story is that we've all got little warning signs for when we're not listening to our intuition, for when we're a bit off track. And that's probably what kickstarts the talk tonight, about how to learn the differences between what your ego and your intuition is, and how to learn strategies to tune into these intuitive feelings on a daily basis. So to kind of kickstart us a little bit, Morgan Williamson, that describes ego says, once everything falls into place, I'll feel peace. Whereas spirit says, find your peace and then everything will fall into place. So I'll say that again. That's ego says, once everything falls into place, I'll feel peace. Whereas spirit says, find your peace and then everything will fall into place. And that's something I discuss quite heavily with my clients, and I see it on a regular basis. When I can get my clients to a point where they're feeling content with who they are, happy with who they are, everything else magically around them falls into place. Whereas what your ego, fear-based thinking, tries to tell you is that, no, your life will fall into place once you've got the flash car. You know, you'll be happy once you've got the nice house. You'll be happy when, you'll be ranked this level in your business. Ego keeps trying to tell you things aren't enough. So our ego is our human self. It's a part of us who identifies with your name, your appearance, what you do, what you have, your past experiences, the car you drive. The ego attaches to the physical and material aspects of the world for security and certainty, and only believes what it can see with its eyes, and fears or doubts what it can't see. So it wants evidence. It wants number crunching facts to believe anything. And the ego, to remember, is not plugged into true source of love and power. So it finds its power through what it can get, what it can control, what it can achieve in the external. The ego sees itself as separate to everything. It's separate to the universe, separate to others, separate to the world, and therefore it competes and compares. So it's ruled by fear. It never feels safe, whole, happy, or secure. It will seek, search, strive for what it desires and craves, but no matter what it gets, it will never be enough. And I'm sure you can perhaps resonate with times of life where you felt like that, when no matter how much you had, it was never enough. We'll see that in other people. And something, when I first started learning about this, I was like, oh my God, it's terrible. Like, I don't want that. Like, but for me, it was about learning that the ego is actually there to keep you safe. It's there to protect you. But when you're connected to who you truly are and your higher self and your intuition, you no longer need that kind of false safety and love. And you'll be more confident in your business, is what I've found. And you'll be more confident in the steps that you're taking. So an example of how I experienced this in my life before I understood the ego and intuition was when I took the jump to go full steam into my business. I resigned from my 9-to-5 job to purely focus on my business. At the time, I didn't really have enough clients to warrant this, but I knew I had a feeling that I had to make the space for them to come, and I had this strong feeling that it was the right thing to do. I had the feeling that I would be okay, I'd be supported, and I could feel it like in my heart and soul. But at the point when I made this decision, at that point I was completely in line with my higher self. I backed myself 100% because I was trusting that intuition. I wasn't listening to the ego. I was in tune with my intuition. However, when I started telling my friends, extended family, that I'd resigned from my job and I was going to focus on my business, they started asking questions like, how much money are you actually making a week, Emma? How many clients have you got? And that's what the ego does. The ego brain looks for evidence. And there was actually no physical evidence at that point in time that was actually going to be okay, because my books kind of reflected that I was only making a couple of $100 a week. Like, my booking diary was virtually empty. People were just calling me, and I was just on call, and I wouldn't know how many clients I'd have on a week, because they just call me when they need, as opposed to now where things are banked up and I've got the so-called evidence. And my loved ones in the external world started questioning, like, you know, how are you going to survive? How are you going to pay your mortgage and things like that? And then I started questioning myself, because they were getting in my head. I'd lost center off with my higher self. I'd lost track of my intuition, and I started getting an ego brain and thinking, God, Emma, how are you going to pay your mortgage? How are you going to eat? How are you going to afford to be able to go out with your friends? That was an example. Well, it really taught me at that point in my life that I had to back myself in 100% and trust that intuitive feeling and not get tangled up on the ego and the fear-based thinking. And something that, I don't know, I'm just feel I need to share it because it might help other people here. But these days when I've got big plans, like expansive plans that other people might consider a bit off center, I only share that with people that are really, like, I know are in my network, or I know they're in my corner. I know they're on the same vibe as me, what they call it, vibe tribe, you know, people that I know are walking the same walk as me. So if I've got a couple of outlandish ideas now that I'm kind of planning, and I'd have no hesitation saying that to someone like Erin, because I know Erin would get it. I know she'd back me. I know she's just like on a similar vibration. I'd be cool with that. But you pick who you share your ideas with, especially if you don't have the evidence, the hard crunching number evidence that you're going to be okay. But if you've got in your heart and soul and know it's okay, share it with those that you know will support you and that will back you up. But of course, all my ego brain was doing was keeping me safe during that time with those fears. Like, there wasn't anything so-called malicious about it. It was just trying to keep me safe. And when we can understand that, then we can navigate our way through it a little bit more. So a lot of people perceive the ego to be a bad thing that needs to be eliminated or destroyed, but it's important to remember it's a part of you, and you can't heal that part of you by rejecting that part of yourself. Your ego needs love, it needs compassion, it needs understanding. It was created from a place of fear to try and protect you, to keep you safe. So when you can understand that, you can understand your ego and why it speaks to you in this way. So when I started to understand that a little bit more, and I'll step you through a couple of techniques I use, I could kind of, you know, conquer my fears a lot more easily, because I could understand what I was trying to do. It's like, okay, it's trying to keep me safe, but I've just got to explain to it it's actually, you know, it's actually going to be okay, and it's safe to back myself in. So let's get a little bit interactive now. So I want you guys, with your pens and paper, to start to have a little think about some of the ways your ego is trying to keep you small in your business. Can you see any part of your ego that's trying to protect you, keep you small, safe, or stay in your comfort zone relating to your business? So I'm going to stop talking in a minute and give you a bit of time to write down some examples of the way perhaps your ego brain's kicking in. To give you a bit of a kickstart, these are some real common ones I see with people building their businesses, okay? That it's not safe to be successful. It's not safe to earn an income over a certain level. So some people might say to me, it would never be possible for me to earn over $100,000 a year. No one in my family's ever earned $100,000 a year, or I can't earn $100,000 a year if I don't have a business degree. It's not safe to be seen is a really big one in business, because as you all know, as soon as you put yourself out in your own business, you're putting the spotlight on you, and that can make a lot of people uncomfortable. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to just write down perhaps in what ways is the ego playing out for you guys. How's the ego keeping you small, stopping you from chasing your dreams? And so what I want to invite perhaps a couple of these ego-based fears that are cropping up for you. I then want you to imagine this ego as a scared little child. And what would you say to soothe and console this part of you that's afraid of those fears that you've just written down? If that was a 5-year-old child standing in front of you, what would you say to make them feel better? What would you say to help them back themselves in? And some indicators for you guys of when you can tell ego-based thinking starting to get a little bit out of control. You can have a really strong feeling of need, a feeling of wanting something that's missing, like feeling like life's not complete till you have that certain something, a feeling of control, an attachment to the outcome or desire, an underlying fear, a dissatisfaction of where you are. And this is a big one I see a lot, delayed gratification, okay? When X happens, I will feel happy. Like a lot of people come in and go, when I have that new house, then I'll feel happy. Like it's like the ego's just like, no, it's never enough. It won't be enough till I get that next thing, that next thing, that next thing. It's never content with where it is right now. Control is absolutely huge, how the ego will try to make you feel safe and secure in the unknown. And that's why ego doesn't like it when you take risks and back your intuition, because it can't control what you're trying to do. And interestingly, control from the ego creates an energy of anxiety, stress, pushing, forcing, tightness, and tension. As I described in my life, that's why I was feeling that anxiety. And they're just little warning signs of how you can tell that we're starting to control and the ego-based thinking is kicking in a little bit too much. So how do we drop out of control and the ego and into our higher self and our intuition? We surrender. We drop into the ease. We reach for the feeling of lightness. We follow the path of least resistance. We let go and wait for an inspired action step to come to us. We connect to our true self and we trust in what we feel rather than needing the proof or the evidence with our eyes. I see it quite often with a lot of people that are just starting out their business. They'll come in with this beautiful idea, and I can feel it. I can feel it's fantastic. I can see it. I can see their faces lighting up. I can see it's big. I can see they need to do it. And then they start thinking a bit more, and then they go, oh, but this, and then they kick into the ego, and it's really interesting to see and start to watch that in yourself when you've got those big ideas and your face lights up and it's fantastic, and then you might feel yourself shut down, contract as that fear comes in. So I know this is a real crash course tonight, but I hope you can start to see that the ego is a protective part of our brain to keep us safe. And it can be loud. It can be really loud if you don't understand it. And it can take over your life. So that's why I'm really passionate about you guys being aware of it and using some of these techniques to start to quieten it down a little bit. And imagine talking to yourself as that scared little child when it starts to get a bit too strong. So the next topic we're going to look at a little bit more now is, so what is our intuition? And we're going to explore that a little bit further. So one of my favourite quotes by Shakti Gawain states, there is an intelligent life force that exists within everyone and everything. It's a deep wisdom, an inner knowing, and we access this wisdom through our intuition. It is our inner self that tells us what is right and true for us at any moment. Being intuitive is not a gift that just some people possess. Rather, it's an innate part of being human. It's how your spirit communicates with you. It's how your true self guides and supports you through life. And living intuitively is the conscious practice of turning inwards to listen and feel what that energy is communicating to you. So don't think you have to be a psychic medium or you need a crystal ball to tune into your intuition. Like, it's not a gift. It's something that we've all got. But it's something that you can learn to listen to on a more higher level. And it's also, how often do you hear people say, oh, I knew I shouldn't have done that, or I should have gone with my gut? Like, that's one example of intuitive thinking. We just get tangled up thinking that intuitive means that you have to have your crystal ball or go see a psychic medium, but we've actually all got it within us. So how do we introduce it a little bit more into our lives? My simple thoughts are, I liken the ego to listening to fear-based thoughts, whereas your intuition's listening to your love-based thoughts. Intuitive living is inviting more love into your life. You can invite your intuition and love-based thinking to the inner stories that come from fear, lack, limitation, or negativity. So some questions you can ask yourself to tune into your higher self is, if I believed in myself, what would I say to myself? What is my heart's guidance on this situation? What is the loving perspective? What feels better? What thoughts empower me and strengthen me? And if I was my own best friend, how would I talk to myself? And can you feel the lightness and the beautiful energy shift that came by asking those questions after we were talking about all that ego stuff? As soon as I say that, like, my heart feels like it's opening, my heart chakra feels like it's cracking itself open. And when you're having those fearful thoughts, saying some of those questions to yourself will help you look at it from a different perspective. So I'll just read some of them out for you again quickly. If I believed in myself, what would I say to myself? What is my heart's guidance on this situation? What is the loving perspective? What feels better? What thoughts empower and strengthen me? And if I was my own best friend, how would I talk to myself? So just be aware that the ego will always sound louder than your soul, because it doesn't want you to be different. It wants you to be safe. So we've got to think of fear was our old default, but love is our new voice. So extending on this further, some of you guys that were at the Adelaide talk would have already heard of this technique, but it's just really good for busting the ego and the love-based stuff. So that's why I just want to share it. When your ego, fear-based thoughts are getting really strong about something that perhaps you feel you know is right for you, then get out your piece of paper, 2 columns, a love column and a fear column. Actually, you should have the fear start with your fear column first and then a love column, okay? And think about what it is you want to do and get messy. And in that fear column, write down all the fears you're having. And I'm talking get real messy. Get it all out on that paper. Because if it's on that paper, it's out of here and it's on there and it's going to lose its power. Okay, so get messy. Write every single thing that's scaring you about doing that. All the things you think could go wrong. All the things you worry about what other people say to you on that fear column. And then take a step back. And then go, okay, what would my higher self say? What would love say? What would my intuition say? What would my higher self say? And what would my inner cheerleader say? And I hope I'm still going in okay. I've just had a warning that no, that's gone. It's saying my internet connection's unstable, but I think I'm back. Changing to that love perspective. And another question to ask yourself on the love column is, what would your inner cheerleader say? And as I said at the business training talk, this technique's been a bit of a game changer for me. And so now when I feel the fear-based thinking come in, I automatically now go to the love-based thinking. And it's just been huge for me to shift my thinking. And I know other clients are having great results with it as well. And the cool thing about that is you start actually looking from perspective that you've never thought of before, and start looking at it from a different angle and actually start finally believing in yourself again. And I know when I first heard it, I thought, God damn, I haven't ever thought of talking to myself as my inner cheerleader before. Like, what was I thinking? Why have I been living in fear for so long? And the cool thing is, by just doing that technique, you just tuned into your intuition. So I ask you to now ponder, where can you start to live more intuitively? In what part of your life do you need to listen to your loving and more nurturing thoughts rather than your fearful thoughts? In what ways are you letting that ego-based thinking dictate your life a little bit too much? In what ways aren't you trusting your own ability, your intuition, or taking a punt on those things you can't see the evidence with, but that you know are going to work? So now we're at the part of the talk where, when we were talking earlier about having those 2 clear options of something you're deciding between, that's where you're going to need them, because I'm going to step you guys through a little guided visualization. So I want you to think between 2 business decisions that you're deciding between. And remember, it's okay if you don't have 2 business decisions that you're deciding between. It can be as simple as 2 restaurants that you're deciding to eat at on the weekend. So think of 2 decisions that you're deciding between. And in your mind, I want you to clearly know what one's going to be option 1 and know what one's going to be option 2. Just clearly know in your mind, okay, this is option 1, this is option 2. And I'm deciding between the 2, which one's going to be in my highest good. So as we do this guided visualization, it's up to you how you want to do it. You might want to sit back in your chair, you might want to close your eyes, you might just want to sit comfortably, or for this round you might just be happy listening and then might want to listen to the replay and try it properly that way. But either way, when it comes time that you try this visualization, just picture being relaxed, feeling calm, and having those two options clear in your mind that are option 1 and option 2. So I'm just going to step you through it now. So I want you to picture that you're walking along a beautiful golden path in a beautiful tropical rainforest. And on this golden path, each brick is so golden and shiny that you can feel the cold of each brick on your feet as you take each step. And we are heading towards a beautiful healing waterfall that we can hear in the distance. Ancient legend has taught us that this waterfall can wash away all your fears, insecurities, egotistical thoughts, and any negative energies from others. And as we continue walking on this golden path, we're getting closer and closer to that waterfall. We can tell we're getting closer as we start to feel the warm mist from the air and the water. We can feel the water droplets on the golden pavers, and we keep walking and getting closer and closer to that waterfall. And we're so close now that we can actually see the waterfall. And as we stand at the edge of that waterfall and prepare to stand under it and wash away all our fears, we get closer to taking that step in. And at this point, we might decide to take a brush, a loofah glove, or anything you feel drawn to help wash away your fears, insecurities, or negative energies when we stand under that waterfall. And I now want you to take a step under this waterfall and picture that beautiful, warm, cleansing water washing away all your fears, washing away your insecurities, your ego thoughts, anything holding you back. And use your brush or special item to help wash away your fears, hurts, and pains. And stand under that waterfall and let it all fall away. And it's falling under to this pool of water under your feet that has a deep drain, taking it all to the core of the earth to never be seen again. And wash away all those fears, all those energies from other people, the insecurities, anything from the day that pulled you down. Just picture washing it away off that, down that waterfall, down that drain. And then I now want you to picture stepping up out of the waterfall, walking back on the golden path, heading towards the sun and towards brighter days ahead. But before you walk to those brighter days, a wise spirit gently stops you on that path and asks you to place both your hands out with palms facing upwards. And you stand there with your palms facing upwards, and that wise spirit places soil in both your hands. The soil in each hand is exactly the same, full of rich, nutritious soil. And the wise man then places a seed in your left hand in the middle of this soil. This seed has been exposed to your option 1 decision that you've been deciding between. He then places another seed in your right hand and he places option 2. The wise man then asks you to wait, watch, and he places some water on both the hands. He ensures both the seeds have the same amount of sunlight, they've both had the same amount of water, and he asks you to wait, watch, observe, and start to see what happens to those seeds. And I want you to keep watching, waiting, observing, noticing any changes in your hands. And then I want you to picture walking back on that golden path towards the sun and towards brighter days ahead. And then drop your hands to your sides and then take 3 steps back out that rainforest and back into the room that you're in right now. And feel your feet anchor to the floor and connect to the here and now moment. And if anyone wants to put in that chat box what they were experiencing at that point, please feel free, more than open to comment. And it's okay if you didn't feel anything, that's okay, because this was the first time that we were kind of doing anything like that. But sometimes people can feel something growing in one hand. If one option's really quite positive for them, they'll feel something growing. Some people feel a lightness in one hand, heaviness in the other. Some people can almost feel one hand cracking while something's growing in the other hand. The first time I actually did that experiment, I was actually working with one of my mentors, and she guided me through that exercise. Oh, beautiful, Josie. I had my right hand wrapped in a vine and nothing in my left. How cool is that? So Josie could actually feel the physical sensation. And the first time that I stepped through that meditation, I had a strong feeling I needed to finish with my business, but just seemed a bit outlandish. And my mentor stepped me through it, and I had no idea what was coming up, like you guys didn't when we did that meditation. And the hand that I had the option of pursuing my business was this most beautiful garden that started growing and butterflies flying. It was the most unreal sensation. I've always held on to that. Lane, option 1 grew a little plant, and option 2 grew an awesome plant that sprawled down on the ground, spring everywhere. How cool is that? I'm loving that you guys were experiencing such significant sensations. That's awesome. So the idea of that's just a little something you can do when you're having trouble deciding between two options, because sometimes two options can feel really positive for us, and we can't decide between the two. And that's a little something that you can step yourself through. When you do try to step yourself through it, though, just make sure you're really relaxed and that you've kind of shut that ego brain down and tuning into the intuition. Because if we tried to do it while you're in the middle of fearful thinking, it's not going to work, because you're too wrapped up in the ego's thoughts. So tuning into my intuition in my business has helped me to shift out of control and into a place of surrender, trust, and acceptance. When we use the ego to push at our plan or agenda, we experience struggle and resistance. We may feel at war with life or what life is bringing us. When I'm out of intuitive flow, I feel like I'm trying to swim against a rip in the ocean. I can't move towards what I want to be moving towards. And that actually happened to me a little bit this week. And it was actually funny as I was writing this talk, and I'm like, okay, that's a little memo to self. I can feel it now, and can quite quickly now snap myself back in, because I've got really quite in tune with what it feels like when I'm out of the flow. So I let my intuition guide my client bookings to when I need days off, to the location I see my clients, because sometimes safety can be an issue. So that can help guide perhaps where particular clients need to be seen. It guides as to whether I accept a business opportunity or not. If someone comes to me and offers me something, I can trust my intuition now to tell whether it's a good thing or not. It guides my expansion plans. It helps me to trust in my own ability, is probably the big one. As opposed to believing my egos and fears, I can now tune into that side of me and actually believe in myself more and shut down the fears a little bit more easily. And my intuition helps me to live more fearlessly and from a place of trust. And that's what I've really experienced over the past 6 months. And that's why I was so passionate about sharing this tonight. So when we listen to our inner selves and listen to life, we can open up and see what life's trying to show us. We can find the deeper message and purpose within everything, even within those experiences that feel painful, hard, or challenging. From this place of surrender, we can see when life is saying no, not this person, not this path, not this time, not this place, not this opportunity. And understanding that can be really tough when you're trying to understand it from an ego, if things aren't working and you think life's just against you. Where if you can take a step back and be a bit more in tune with your higher self and see perhaps it's not working because there's something bigger, better coming along, life becomes a lot easier to live. We can understand why things end, why they get taken away, why they stop working. And when we have the courage to listen and to be willing to let go of what we need, we make space for what is truly right for us. We make space for the new to rush in and fill our lives with abundance, beauty, and love. Remember, every roadblock is a divine redirection. It's not life out to get you. It is a divine redirection. Every setback is a chance to reassess, and every no is a yes to something else. As we learn to embrace all experiences and open up to what life is presenting without the labels of wrong, good or bad, we can find the blessing, learning and opportunity that lay in all of them. So that was a really quick chat tonight, guys, about what ego versus intuition and how to use it for your business. Really remember those techniques. When the fear-based stuff's coming on, remember to talk to your ego as if it's that little 5-year-old child and let it know that it's actually going to be okay. Remember that love and fear 2-column exercise, and also that visualization that we did at the end. That's another great one for helping to decide between options as well. So it was a really quick crash course tonight, guys, but something that I've been really passionate about over the past 6 months, and that's why I wanted to share it with you all. And it's really helped me to expand my business really rapidly, and that's why I wanted to share it with you all. And I always love speaking to you guys with your motivation and your enthusiasm for growing your businesses. I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram under Positive Outlooks with Emma Ward. Feel free to follow me. If anything caught your attention tonight, feel free to comment, because I will make a post about the talk tonight. Feel free to comment on how you found it. And remember, I also conduct private sessions and can help teach you how to tune into your intuition on a greater level. My absolute favourite technique is EFT, which I think a lot of you guys are familiar with Erin's work. So just so you know a little bit more about me, it's my absolute passion. It's what I love. But if you wanted to come for something else, not EFT, that's cool too. I do that for other people as well. I just want to say a huge thanks to Erin again for this beautiful, amazing opportunity to speak with everyone. I'm always so blessed for everything Erin's done to help grow my business. And I always say to Erin, her motivation is truly inspirational to me. I always feel inspired after every time I'm with her, and I can't thank her enough for the abundance that she's brought into my life. And speaking of intuition and fear-based thinking, for those that don't know the story, when Erin asked me to speak at her Adelaide business training, I had the immediate feeling I had to say yes, and said yes immediately right away, thinking it was going to be for 8 people. And then how many was it in the end, Erin? Was it a lot?
We had about 80.
Yeah, so it was 80. So, and then when I heard that, my ego brain went into meltdown. So these techniques were really good during that time, and I can verify that they helped. But when Erin approached me, I could feel that I had to do it. I knew it was really good for me, and I could feel that on an intuitive level. And I didn't listen to the ego brain, and I'm ever so grateful that I did do it, because it's brought me lots of beautiful abundance to my business. So that's an example of how I've applied these techniques. So thanks, Josie. I really appreciate that. But yeah, that's me over and out. So I hope you took away some cool stuff tonight. Thanks again, Erin. Thank you.
Thanks, Em. I wanted to just share the visual. Obviously, I do a lot of visualizations, and when Emma and I meet, we do a lot of visualizations, and we do EFT, and we do a lot of things. So visualization is a huge part of that growth and that shift. And when I was doing that visualization just then, option 1 went up like a jack in the beanstalk, immediately up into the sky, like it was just, there was no in between my 2 hands, and instantly I actually felt that this was raised and it was just heading up. And my option 2 just was this tiny little pot plant, almost like what Lane said. There was a pot with a tiny little plant. It was beautiful flower, but this was crazy Jack and the Beanstalk just taking off. But as soon as I felt that was happening, that ego started, because it's a big decision. This is a huge decision. That ego came and said, Erin, no, that's too soon. And no matter how much work I do, and I do a lot of work by myself, I do a lot of work with Emma, so it just shows you that so much fear and so much how powerful fear is, and that it's continuously there just to knock us down. And I know that I can achieve what option 1 is, and I know that I can do that, but my little fear friend just likes to have his say, just to keep that roof over my head, and just to keep me a little bit more grounded and say, you know what, I hear you, but I'm going to do it anyway. A bit like the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. Like, that's not good. You can't do that. Well, I'm going to do it anyway. So no matter how much work you do, you have to continually do this work every day for yourself, so that you are continuously keeping yourself in alignment. And Emma's the same, I'm the same. You know, I'll reach out to Emma if I'm having a you know, one of those overwhelming feelings where I'm just like, no, I can't. This is just too much. And Emma will always have the right thing to say. And I'm like, yeah, of course. I know that. It just needs to come from someone. It just needs to come up from someone else. And that ego needs to just be flicked off of your shoulder and out of your brain for that time. So I know a lot of you guys are going for big things even this month and moving into December. So the end of the year for our team is huge. And I hope that you take so much out of what Emma is offering and you continuously use that positive mindset, that positive vibe that I try and instill into our team, because we don't say this because we just love to hear our own voices, but we know that this stuff works, and that creating that positive energy and that positive mindset on a daily basis is going to drive you forward. And I know that it works for me, and I know that a lot of successful people in doTERRA and in businesses in general, that is what keeps them above water. It keeps them sane, and it keeps them motivated and driven in their business. So I just want you to really, really use those techniques that Emma has given. And you guys know that we use Brad Yates, but there are other EFT practitioners out there. Emma, do you have any recommendations for anyone else that does?
Yeah, Nick Ortner's got great stuff on the internet as well. He's got really
the chat box.
Yep, I'll put him right now. He's got really great stuff, and he's got videos you can tap along with as well. And he's got a book as well. I'll write that on here. The Tapping Solution. Yeah, Nick's great. And if you're really into health problems as well, Nick's got a fantastic video of he had a lady on stage, and I think she almost couldn't talk or something. He tapped her through, and she started talking by the end. It was amazing. It's amazing. Incredible.
I think you posted that on your page, and I watched that, and she hadn't been able to speak for the last week or something, could she?
Yeah.
She had a special condition. It wasn't epilepsy, and it was post-ictal loss of voice. And she was speaking on stage. It was just, it was remarkable. So
it was quite funny. The week I shared that post, I had a client come that said she'd watched that video on my page, and she said to me, she actually didn't say this till after the session, and she goes, "Oh my God, that tapping was amazing." She goes, "I watched that video on your page and thought it was a load of crap." She said, "But after having it done, I can see it now." So
and I know a lot of people are skeptic about it, but I say jump in and do it, and feel the release, and feel that heaviness drift away from your body and your mind, and feel that lightness that is left behind, because seriously, it makes a difference to your day. So start by tapping in the morning. Once you've done your jobs for the morning, or you've dropped the kids at school. I like to drop the kids at school, have breakfast, and then do my tapping, and that sets me up for the day. It gives me that positive mindset, so I have less likely feelings of overwhelm. And the funny things happen as soon as I start tapping. Then I check my emails, I check my messages, and I have the more positive messages and emails rather than negative ones. And it might sound a bit kooky, but that's the way it works. If I don't tap or check my emails, it's something I don't really want, or a bill comes in the mail, just little things that I do go on a lot about, but I do it because I know that it works and I want it to make a difference in your life. So has anyone got any questions for Emma before we let her go? And I think Emma's booked up for the rest of the year, but she'll be opening up her calendar for next year.
Yeah, taking new clients from next year. Fresh new start next year for new clients who are interested.
So we're very fortunate to have Emma here with us tonight. Thank you very much for your time, Emma.
Thank you.
Very much appreciated, and thank you for everything that you have given me and the opportunities for my business, and allowed me just to bounce off of you as well. It's nice to have someone, like you said, on the same vibration, that we just get each other. So very, very grateful to have you in my life, and thank you for chatting with my team and sharing with them tonight. I'm sure they've taken stacks out of it, and now we've got a new tool to use when we're deciding on big things. And I've obviously still got some things to work on there too.
Oh, we all do. I think that's never ending. Awesome. Thank you. Over and out. Hello to Renee and thanks, Linda, too. All right. See you guys.
Thanks, Sam. Bye.